Wow, that certainly escalated quickly. Sebastian Vettel to leave Ferrari at the end of this year, if indeed we even have a season. More in a moment. I got up this morning and I flipped around on Instagram. Of course, this morning Australian time is late at night in Europe, and I came across this story on the internet about Sebastian Vettel may not have his contract extended. So I posted straight away thinking, oh well, seems like this fella's pretty much in the know. Could be interesting to watch over the next month or 2 months. By the end of today, it's been announced. Ferrari's come out with their press release saying, yes, Sebastian will not be with the team next year. And it goes into some detail, with Mattia Binotto saying, this is a decision taken jointly by ourselves and Sebastian, one which both parties feel is for the best. It was not an easy decision to reach, given Sebastian's worth as a driver and as a person. And he is a marvellous fellow and great for Ferrari, and certainly well loved by the Tifosi. There was no specific reason that led to this decision, apart from the common and amicable belief that the time had come to go our separate ways in order to reach our respective objectives. Sebastian is already part of the Scuderia's history, with his 14 Grand Prix wins, making him the third most successful driver for the team, while he is also the one who has scored the most points with us. In our 5 years together, he's finished in the top 3 of the Drivers' Championship 3 times, making a significant contribution to the team's constant presence in the top 3 of the Constructors' classification. On behalf of everyone at Ferrari, I want to thank Sebastian, this is Mattia Binotto saying this, for his great professionalism and the human qualities he's displayed over these 5 years, during which we shared so many great moments. We've not yet managed to win a world title together, which would be a 5th for him, but we believe that we can still get a lot out of this unusual 2020 season. And on the same press release came Sebastian Vettel's response. My relationship with Scuderia Ferrari will finish at the end of 2020. In order to get the best possible results in this sport, it's vital for all parties to work in perfect harmony. The team and I have realised that there is no longer a common desire to stay together beyond the end of this season. Financial matters have played no part in this joint decision. That's not the way I think when it comes to making certain choices, and it never will be. What's been happening in these past few months has led many of us to reflect on what are our real priorities in life. One needs to use one's imagination and to adopt a new approach to a situation that has changed. I myself will take the time I need to reflect on what really matters when it comes to my future. Scuderia Ferrari occupies a special place in Formula One, and I hope it gets all the success it deserves. Finally, I want to thank the whole Ferrari family, and above all, its Tifosi all around the world for the support they've given me over the years. My immediate goal is to finish my long stint with Ferrari in the hope of sharing some more beautiful moments together to add to all those we have enjoyed so far. So nice words from both parties, obviously both agreeing to separate. And just quickly, let me say thank you to Canity.com. Canity.com is online staff training for hungry businesses. Go and have a look. A myriad of short, sharp, entertaining videos designed to train your staff to the very highest level. Canity.com. Now, what's next, of course, and I'm not suggesting I know any more than what you do, but looking at the comments that I received today on Instagram, it appears that Daniel Ricciardo and Carlos Sainz are both red-hot favourites in terms of my following anyway, for the vacant seat now left. But of course, when you look at it, you've got to be thinking, who's going to go in there? Because essentially whoever fills that seat is going to be playing second fiddle to Charles. There's no doubt about that. Will Daniel Ricciardo want to play second fiddle? He didn't want to play second fiddle to Max. So it would be, I guess, a tricky situation for him to go to Ferrari, although I'm sure he'd jump at the chance if the conditions were right. So that'll be an interesting one. And Carlos Sainz's name has also been thrown about. Would be a great second fiddle to Charles. I don't think he'd mind. I don't know, what do you think? Do you think he'd mind playing second fiddle? I don't think he would, especially if he got to wear the Ferrari red. More than a few of you have suggested this man could fill that vacant seat. That'd be an interesting return, wouldn't it? I'd love to see him back. He's a great man, and I'm sure he would be more than happy to back Charles up in that second seat at Ferrari. Max Verstappen was also mentioned as a possible Ferrari driver, but he signed a multi-year contract with Red Bull, so you can't see him getting out of that. And I think he's pretty happy actually being number one at Red Bull. So what happens from here? The interesting comings and goings of the normal F1 season, with a silly season and drivers moving about, has now been escalated dramatically and very early in the season. A season, as we both know, hasn't even started yet and may not start. We may see no racing at all this year. But what of Sebastian Vettel? Where will he end up? Will he perhaps go to Renault? Would he want to go to another team? Really, there aren't that many options open to Sebastian now, I guess. He may just want to sit it out. When you look at that particular press release that he said there, he's going to weigh up his future. He may have had enough racing. He's 32. He's enjoyed considerable success. Maybe time for him to just step back and go and enjoy a normal life and get away from the hustle and bustle that's involved with Formula One, the constant travel. And as he said in that press release too, the events of recent times have perhaps focused his attention elsewhere. He's got 2 young daughters and a wife. Maybe it's time for him to step back from the sport altogether and leave the younger guys out there to risk their lives. What will I miss about Sebastian? I'll miss his beautiful nature in the paddock. He would always just stop and talk to people. I'll miss his press officer, Britta Ruska, always by his side in the paddock when it came to media commitments, had his best interests always front of mind for her, and she was a great woman to work with. I'll miss Antti, his Finnish trainer. There's 2 Finnish trainers, as you probably know, in F1. Antti Ferrula works with Valtteri Bottas, and Antti Konsas, who works with Sebastian. Maybe they'll part ways. Who knows? Maybe Antti will end up with another driver if Seb doesn't come back. It's going to be interesting, isn't it? Sitting here thinking about what's going to happen, who will move where and when. And without any racing, it's going to be a very tricky matter. And now that Sebastian's leaving Ferrari at the end of this year, it becomes a little bit tricky in the team. And I think you'll find most drivers will tell you this, that when they announce that they're leaving, they suddenly tend to get pushed a little bit on the outer. They don't get given the same amount of time perhaps on the simulator. They don't get the same focus, obviously, because all the focus would go on the number 1 driver, in this case, Charles Leclerc, because he is the long-term interest of Ferrari. So Sebastian, unfortunately, is going to feel a little unwanted for this last season, if indeed we get racing. But it's just a normal part of the sport, and he would have experienced this previously in his past endeavours with teams when he goes from one to the other. And despite the fact that he may not end up at another team, he may still find that not a cold shoulder, but certainly it's not a warm embrace from the team. But come the end of the year, if there is racing, I imagine if we get to race towards the end of the year and perhaps end up in Abu Dhabi, there'd be a lovely saying goodbye to Sebastian at that race. And of course, if we don't do any racing, I guess he'll just walk away and we won't get a chance to say goodbye to him. So, what a day in F1. Sebastian Vettel, no longer a Ferrari driver after season 2020. Thanks for watching. Remember, if you've liked the video, please hit the like button, and I'd love you to subscribe and press the bell for notifications. All my pictures you'll find at prostarpics.com. You'll find my podcasts and blogs at kimellman.com, and my best pictures live from the track and all through the season, Instagram at Kim Ellman. Thanks for watching, and stay passionate.